Welcome back to another episode of Choose Africa. Today, we are talking all about your business and your customer service needs. Now, I am a huge believer that customer service is so important. In fact, I think it should come under your sales budget because when you have good customers who are getting the support they need and love how you are helping them, even after you have purchased their services, they will tell all their friends and family and be the most loyal customer. That's how I am, at least. Let me give you two different examples. At work, at CRDLE, we pay our team members on a lot of different payment platforms because they're in different countries across Africa. So that's just how we have to do it. And there were two different platforms that our team members were on, and we had to choose which one we wanted to grow with more. Now, one of these companies is large and you can never get a hold of a real person, and you get a lot of bots. And even when a real person writes back, it doesn't make sense. It's so annoying and frustrating. And honestly, it's a big waste of our time. So there is the other alternative that actually costs a little bit more. But when I email them right away, I get a response back. I get support. It's so important. In fact, I told them this is why we're choosing to grow with your platform, even though it costs more, because we love that when we need help, we can get a hold of a real person. This is also true for the bank I use. Like on a personal level, the bank I use now has the best customer service. If I need live chat, I'm connected within 5 minutes. If I call them, under 5 minutes of waiting. It's so amazing. And I think one of the biggest mistakes companies make is that they don't spend enough time with providing good, fast customer service, or they use bots. So I know that I'm not the only one who is wanting to use every curse word I know whenever you're on a phone and you're talking to one of the bots and you cannot get your message across and it doesn't understand you. And I normally don't curse. I'm not a big fan of it, but let me tell you, those kind of calls make me so cranky because you end up just yelling like representative over and over, hoping to be transferred to someone who actually can help you. Same with live chat. I know that when you reach out to a lot of these big websites, they just send you back either information that doesn't make sense based on your inquiry because the AI doesn't actually get what you need, or they send you their tutorials. And sometimes the tutorials are enough, but 90% of the time, it's just honestly feels so much better to have a real person. So all this to say, if you are a company, please, for my sake and everybody else's sake, please invest in good customer service. Now, a lot of companies do know this, but their team is so overworked. And one of the reasons why we are talking about this today is because this week we had an interview with a company that's based in California. They wanted a customer service rep, and it was just such a great interview, and I'm so excited to work with this client. They had a customer service representative that was based in the US. So they're paying a US salary representative to answer basically emails, a lot of emails. But it does not make sense to me to pay a US salary when some of these emails were based on like website tech issues, minor problems, things that are just so easily solvable. But because they're in the health space, the kind of customers they're serving are not always super tech savvy. So they do need help. And they're not the kind of customers that would be using one of those online tutorials. So it was great that they had somebody actually helping them, but it did not make sense to have a US salary person doing this. So we did this interview with them. We gave them 3 different customer service reps to interview. Some of our clients love a group interview. And in this case, that's how we chose to do it. So it was kind of fun because you see all 3 customer service reps in the same interview, and you can really get a good feel and a good comparison between them. And the first thing that the CEO said to me after they got off the call was, I am so blown away. This level of caliber of who you have recruited is way beyond what I was expecting. In fact, he ended up hiring 2 people from us and then referred us to his wife like the next day. But he said, as I looked away from my screen, I kept just listening to their voices, and I would have no idea that they're not in America, because that is how, first of all, good the accents are in a lot of different African countries where we recruit from. And also just the skills and experience they had were crazy good. And so what this particular client is going to do is their customer service rep that they're hiring is going to train with their US person. And our team member is going to be the first line of defense. So you usually refer to that person as like tier 1 or level 1. They're going to be handling the bulk of the emails and some of the calls that come in. Now, for anything our person cannot help with, maybe it's too nuanced or too technical, she will then hand it off back to the US team member and to the tech team who will go further. However, it's going to take 90% of the work off this US team member's shoulders, which means she can be utilized better to grow the department, to grow the business, to help more high-level clients. And our team member is also going to be able to provide faster service because she's going to be knocking out most of the emails. And so this is an example of how you should set up your customer service teams. The first line of defense goes towards someone offshore who can handle those basic things like, I forgot my password. What's my username again? How do I upgrade? How do I cancel? Things like that. Again, don't pay a US salary person for that. But train up a really good offshore person who reports to your US team who can help train them, coach them, and make them great. Now, in this particular case, something that was just like, this is why we do what we do at CRDLE, is this customer service rep, she had a background in health. So she went to school to actually be a midwife. Unfortunately, at this current moment, a lot of the places where we hire from in Africa, healthcare professionals make nothing. I mean, it's so horrible. And I truly hope this changes. But because they can't make a livable salary as a nurse, a doctor, a midwife, whatever, a lot of them end up going into other jobs. And she had worked with a different outsourcing company with a massive Fortune 500 client. And she had gotten great experience, but still was getting paid pretty horribly. And so for us to be able to connect her then to a really awesome health company in California was so cool because one, she's going to be paid a million times better. Two, she now gets to actually use her background in health and a midwife to really help her grow with this company. So for her, it was awesome because she is using her background, her career, her college experience, plus her skills to get a great job. And this is one of the clients that I love because they don't care if this team member is offshore. They will say, like, you can grow as much as you want to grow. Like, as much as you can do the role, we will always provide work for you. They don't limit it because she's offshore, which I love. So this girl now has this amazing career opportunity. And at the same time, this company in California now has someone who not only has a degree with understanding health and the terms that they are going to be using, but has someone significantly more affordable so that they can help more customers and use their US team better. So it's just a great win-win. And it also shows you that outsourcing doesn't take jobs away. Like it just allows you to serve your customers better and have more profitability in your business and grow. So that's why it was just really cool. And I do want to say that out of the countries we hire from, there are a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are building customer service teams on the African continent. However, they pay horrifically. So they pay probably 50 cents an hour. And they just don't really have any, in my opinion, any like personal touch. So, you know, a lot of times in call centers, they're just referred to as seats, which I just don't love it. I know it's like an industry term. I don't like it. So these Ethiopians are just working for a big company, doesn't know their name, doesn't care about their career, doesn't pay them well, makes them work US hours, which is fine. But because they have to commute as well, they're spending hours in traffic. And I just don't love it. I mean, that's kind of why we started CRDLE. So I'm just going to say it. I'm shameless about hiring away from these companies. I don't actively recruit them. However, because we have a really good name for having really good clients and paying better and allowing people to work from remote, from their house, we get a lot of applications from people who have gotten this great experience at one of these Fortune 500 companies. And then they come to Cradle and they're home. Like they just like literally not only are they working from home, but they feel at home because we have so much more of a personal vibe, personal connection with our clients. Our clients are really, really cool. And they get paid so much better. So these Fortune 500 companies I'm talking about, I'm not going to name drop them. I don't want to do that, but I will say that you probably have their apps on your phone. And so just imagine these type of companies, they do invest in great training. So the customer service reps who are coming out of them, they can do email, live chat, phone calls. They're handling multiple conversations at once. Like they are terrific. And then once I get that great experience in that training and they've worked for a little while, if they come to apply at Cradle, we scoop them up because they're great workers and we just place them with a better client and we pay them better. And we just have so much of a better, I think, approach to the work that we're doing. And then, of course, you know, it's always like when you treat your employees better, like not ironically, it's just common sense that like the output is also better. So again, for our US companies, they get really good customer service reps. Now, I do want to say one thing. I think a lot of reasons why people don't do customer service offshore is they are afraid of the accents. Now, I don't love the idea behind that, right? Like if you heard my accent in Amharic, like one of the Ethiopian languages I am trying to learn, I mean, an Ethiopian would just laugh. Like my accent is horrible, right? So I don't love the idea behind it. Someone with an accent, it just means that they speak multiple languages and that's better than what most Americans can say, right? However, I do get it. Like this is America and customers are often turned off if the accent is hard to understand. And so when it comes to either customer service or cold calling, our clients tell us, like on a scale of 1 to 10, we need a 9 or a 10. And that's what we're able to provide. And I don't think anybody actually believes us until they get on the interview. And then like this client, he was like, I couldn't tell that they weren't American. And the customer service reps we provided for him, not only did they have perfect accents and worked for Fortune 500 companies, and actually one of the talent, she also worked for an eye clinic before. So, I mean, it was just so the caliber, the experience, the accent, it's all there. So my takeaway from this is if you have a customer service department that is getting flooded with just lots of emails, lots of live chats, lots of phone calls, don't just use AI. Okay, maybe the AI bot is there to like weed them out, put them in the right department or offer a tutorial, but within a few minutes, you need to be able to respond with a real person. And that real person should not be based in the US. So that's my 2 cents. Of course, I'm biased and I would say hire from Cradle, but you can also hire on your own or go with another company. We don't care. But what we do want to say is if you want good customer service, the best reps are coming from African countries. And we just want you to make sure you set it up correctly and make it a real win-win. So that's all I have for you today, but I would love to hear what you think are the biggest challenges for you and your customer service teams. And we will go from there. So as always, if you follow this podcast and leave it a review, it makes such a big difference on our end. It helps us really spread this message. And that is a message that we're really passionate about. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can always email us, go to our website, fill out the contact form, find me on LinkedIn, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.